Hello, everybody. We should be coming to you now. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Ubuntu Global Jam and how you can run an event for your own Loco team. With me today, I've got a member of my Loco team and also my work team, Nick Skaggs, and also Jose, who's very active in all kinds of community teams, including the Ubuntu Peru Loco team, and he's a member of the local council, so he's going to be giving us some perspective from both sides of that on what you can do to run a successful global jam event. So to start things off with, we've got a wiki page, if you are not familiar with the global jam, that will explain kind of what it's all about. It's basically just a time every cycle where we encourage people to get together with Ubuntu users who are local to them and do something to contribute to Ubuntu. And the contributions can come in all forms. It could be development or translations, documentation or testing. We've got something for everybody to do. But the question that often comes up from people who've never done this before is, how do you run a global jam event? How do you plan it and get people to it? And so that's what these workshops are for. We're going to go over some general advice that we've gathered just from years of doing this from a variety of teams to help you get started. Nick, Jose, you guys can jump in any time. Oh, and also, if you are following along on IRC, you can ask us questions at any time also, and we'll be answering those.
You got my line.
I was just going to mention, I was just going to mention that this year's Global Jam is actually taking place in a couple weeks, and it's going to be the 12th of September through the 14th of September. So typically it's over the weekend, and we encourage your loco to meet at some point during those dates. So.
All right. I'm trying something new with Google Hangouts that is supposedly showing you a link to the wiki page I was just mentioning. Someone can let me know what exactly it's showing you, because it's not showing us on the Hangout anything at all.
Let me try and check. Give me a minute.
That's right. Okay, so yeah, as Michael said, you can ask us questions as we go, and until we'll sort of, I guess, hold the questions and go through a quick demo, kind of talking through how to plan the event, what you want to do, what the venue should be, all that sort of stuff. So I think we're ready to pretty much dive in. As you can see, hopefully on the wiki page that Michael is showing you, if not, I'll put it in IRC. There is a big list of things to do. So really, there's something for everybody, even if you're not necessarily a developer or something that a packager or whatever, something that you would traditionally associate with open source development. There's translation work, which you can do, which is cool, documentation stuff, and artwork and design, that sort of thing. And if nothing else, you can always promote Ubuntu and talk about your experiences. So there's something for everyone. So with all that said, Mike, shall we talk about the first part of planning a jam event, I suppose, which is really the venue?
Sure. So we've broken this down kind of into 4 parts. We've got planning, where you sit down and figure out what you want to do. Promotion, where we're going to talk about ways you can get people excited about your event and get them to attend. What to do when you're actually running the event. And finally, afterwards, what you should do to document it. So starting it off with planning, one of the hardest things people seem to have trouble with is finding a venue. And it doesn't have to be that hard. If you're starting out your first time event and it's not going to be very big, it can be as simple as just picking a local coffee shop or something to meet up in. I've been to several global jams in coffee shops or libraries. I've had some where it was just 2 or 3 of us at somebody's house. Just get together, have some lunch, and work on something. Of course, if you've got a big team or you're expecting a lot of people, you'll want to look and find a bigger venue that's more suitable for that. Good things that you can look for are local universities or schools, which will often open up space for these kinds of interest groups. And you'll probably also find a lot of people interested in Ubuntu and open source in those locations also. You can also check and see if there's a hacker space near you, which of course is always open to this kind of thing. If possible, you should make sure that your venue is going to have some kind of Wi-Fi internet and a power source, especially if you plan on doing work. Having those available will make that infinitely easier than if you show up and everyone's got laptop batteries that are draining and nobody's got an internet connection. Again, coffee shops are great for that. Schools are great for that. They should always have some kind of free Wi-Fi that you can use.
And if you're going to use Wi-Fi and like don't have a Wi-Fi hotspot nearby, don't trust mobile hotspots because sometimes cell phones can get a little bit messy, and the hotspot may not work as expected. In the case you want to do some like code things, or you want to interact with the internet while you're in the global jam, so you should be careful with that.
And if you're worried about internet connectivity wherever you're going to go, load up any material that you might need onto a USB drive and bring it with you.
Right, that's always a good point. No matter what, to sort of be prepared to be offline, should that arise.
Another important thing you should do before the event is to decide what you're actually going to be doing there. If it's going to be presentations, find out who can give a presentation and what the topic would be. Getting that kind of information out early will also encourage people to attend if they know what to expect and if it's something that's going to interest them. We also have on these wiki pages a list of things that you can do to try and give you ideas. They're broken up into the different sections I mentioned earlier. So if you go to Ubuntu Global Jam, at the bottom of the page you'll find sections for development and translations and whatnot. And in each of those there should be some ideas of things that you can do around that topic. And hopefully we'll have more people adding specific ideas also.
Right, and that's not to say that you are limited to what we provided here. You know, you might have an idea for something cool or interesting that we've not listed as a suggestion here. Totally go for it. I think I would recommend whatever you do, especially if you're first starting out hosting a global jam, that you have some sort of passion, interest, or familiarity with whatever it is that you're trying to do. At least one person on your loco, and so that's a great way to get other people involved. As Michael said, is to sort of ask other folks what experiences they have in contributing to Ubuntu, and then sort of rope them in and help you run the event by sharing their experience and sharing how they do what they do, if you will, and that will enable you to sort of plan an activity around some of their skills and familiarity. So
it will also help keep your event moving along. And if you've only got an hour of people's attention, you don't want to show up there and have nothing to do, because then you'll say, "Hey guys, what do you want to do?" And everybody's, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" And so you can waste quite a bit of time just trying to figure out what activity you want to engage in. So try and have that picked out ahead of time. And then one last thing I wanted to just let everybody know, we've got a community donations program where when people specifically donate to Canonical for the purposes of helping the community, we have that money available to spend on local teams that need it. So if you've got a big event coming up and you've got a great venue picked out, but you have to pay to rent it for the time you're going to use it, you can request financial help for that. We're more than happy to use this money to invest in our local teams and help their events. So if you go to community.ubuntu.com, somewhere in there's a link to the form. I'll try and find that.
Yeah. There's a direct link, but there's a better link that explains the program a bit more. Before you go
I
to
think
the
there's
form.
one in the fridge.
I got it. There we go. It's in IRC now.
There we are. Hooray.
Cool.
See if
All
I can
right.
put this on here.
So I think that's sort of finished off the planning it portion. So in summary, basically pick a venue. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just make sure you have Wi-Fi and power if you need it, or plan accordingly. Make sure you choose an activity and try and recruit people to help you beforehand.
And remember, it doesn't need to be like a huge venue. You could just host it in a coffee shop.
Right. 2 people is more than enough to have a global jam.
That's right.
All right, so once you've got a plan for it, your next step is to promote it, to let people know that it's happening and get them excited to go there. To do this, we've got a bunch of resources that you probably already know about. If your team has a mailing list, that's a great way to get in touch with them. Any local lugs or open source groups, if you can find a mailing list for them or a way to contact them, that's a great way to get the word out also. And then, of course, we've got the Loco team portal, which is at loco.ubuntu.com, which will let you schedule your event, give information about what you're going to do there, a link to the venue, and you can also hook it up to the Ubuntu Global Jam, which is the link that should be showing to you now. If not, if you go to loco.ubuntu.com/events, you'll find it there. And that lets us group all of the Global Jam events that are happening around the world together so that we can see what the worldwide community is doing. You should also blog about it, tweet about it, use Facebook. Wherever you've got community interaction with your local team, use that to spread the word and encourage them to do the same. You know, a lot of people will be in your local community and they'll know friends who might be interested who aren't. So get them to spread the word for you also. If you can put up flyers or information on a bulletin board at a local school or something, that's a great resource for you also. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of people in colleges and universities who are interested in Ubuntu, but don't necessarily know that there's a local team in their area. So just getting the word out there, you might get some new participants in your team also.
There's something I wanted to mention to make sure people don't do 2 global jams that are literally 1 block from each other. So if you want to organize a global jam, it would be better if you try to contact your local team and see if they have already organized one, so you don't have literally a global jam a block next to each other.
Yeah, that's a great point. And another good reason to use the Loco team portal, because it will list for your team what events are coming up, and you can see if there's a global jam already listed there or not. All right, anything else on promoting from you guys?
I think that covers the basics, like giving out flyers, reaching to colleges or universities. That's a pretty good point. And sending out emails to mailing lists, or probably even contacting people from businesses around. There may be businesses who are interested in Ubuntu or use Ubuntu in a daily basis. You may not even know about it, and they just want to give a hand back. So probably it would be nice if you could contact a couple businesses around, probably local or small businesses. You can also share the word about Ubuntu with them.
Yeah,
and if you can make a... Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, and as part of that, being able to promote successfully means you should have your plan in place before the event. So don't wait until the last minute or a few days before Global Jam and try and plan an event. You're not going to have as much success being able to promote it if you've got only 2 or 3 days to do so.
Right. And also, if you can make up a printable flyer, like a single-page PDF or something that has the time and day and venue information on it and a little bit about what to expect, you can put that out there and people can print it off and post it on school bulletin boards. A lot of companies have bulletin boards in their break rooms. Somebody could post it there. Having that information readily shareable will definitely help.
Right, because remember, of course, anyone else interested in attending the event as part of your logo or otherwise can promote it, as well. So be sure to rope in their resources. And as Mike said, providing a easy way to share that information is a great way to do that.
All right, moving on to running the event. Once you've got all the planning and promotion done, what should you do the day of? If you're the planner, try and get there early so that you can make sure everything's set up and ready for when everybody else arrives. Like I said, if you have a limited amount of time, the last thing you want to do is waste any of it. So do things like find the Wi-Fi access point that your group can use. If it requires a password to log in, get that password and write it down on a piece of paper that you can easily just pass around to everybody. You don't want to keep repeating the same password over and over again. So having something that you can just put in a central location or pass around will help. Find the power outlets. Again, this is an important thing. You want to know where they're at and make sure that they're accessible to people who need them. If you need to, and if the venue will let you, try and get all the tables and chairs that you need together in the same place. Having everybody kind of centered around the same group of tables will help them all engage together in the same conversation. If people are spread out over different tables, you'll tend to have a fractured set of communication and discussions going on, and it won't quite be as cohesive as you want it to be. If you're running it during the middle of the day, try and arrange to have a lunch break. If you're at a venue that has food provided, you can get some information, menus, prices, that kind of thing available ahead of time so that people can browse through it. And just try and carve out some time for people to take a break and take something to eat. And then the one that I really want to emphasize is taking a group photo. This is something I try and do whenever I've got a get-together with people, and it really helps show off what activity your team is doing, get other people excited when they see members of your team together. It'll help you later on when you have other events to encourage more people. If you've had an event before and you've got a group photo, use that in your promotion for this one also. Seeing people together and having fun is a great motivator.
Yep, someone in the group always wants to take pictures, so it's important to remember. Don't make one person do it all, but pictures are really helpful and useful. And of course, if you're a visual person like me, it helps you remember things. So, useful tool.
And even if you have a plan of what you're going to be doing ahead of time, don't be afraid to change it if the group wants to, go off on a tangent or talk about something else. It's not necessary to stick to the script. The script is just there to make sure that you don't get stuck trying to figure out what to do. So get a feel for what people are interested and who's able to provide information or guide people through making specific contributions, and go with that once you get there.
Right, and by the same token, don't feel disappointed or upset if you don't accomplish everything that you've laid out in your script per se. Things can change, so go with the flow, and do recognize whatever contributions or work that you guys are able to do.
As Mike said, only 2 people are enough for a global jam. So also, if you don't get enough, if you feel don't get enough people in your event, don't worry, because any contributions are valuable for the community. So even if it's a couple of bug fixes, it's really a great contribution for us. So don't be afraid if there's not many people in the event, or you feel that there's not enough people in the event.
Yeah, don't worry that a small number of people is going to be a problem. You'd be surprised what 2 people with similar interests can accomplish in a short amount of time. One of the best, most productive global jams I've ever been to was I went over to Chris Johnston's house. A lot of people probably know him, and we just hacked on Summit for a couple hours, and we knocked out several months worth of work that we had planned in just the few hours that we were there. So small get-togethers can do big things. You don't need a lot of people there to accomplish something important.
I want to check if there's any questions on the IRC channel. If you just tune in, there's a chat widget down below, So make sure to enter the IRC channel. You can ask any questions at any time. Um, DS McGuire's mentioned if there's going to be a global jam in Wales in the UK. There should be one. If not, there may be one nearby. So make sure to check loco.ubuntu.com. You can find your local team there. You will find all the events that your local team will be hosting. So you'll probably be able to attend one, if not in the same city, quite nearby.
Yeah, I know the UK team is active, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's a global jam. Whether or not it'll be near enough for you is another question. If it's not and you can't make that jam, feel free to set up your own in your own location. Jose mentioned earlier you don't want two different events within a block of each other, but if you're in a sizable country and you need more than one event to accommodate everybody, then that's fine too. It's not unusual for countries to have more than one jam going on at the same time.
We should probably also talk about where else people can get help. So Jose is here, and as a member of the local council. Jose, do you want to talk a little bit about what local teams can do if they've watched this video, which is awesome, and so now they've got some ideas stirring, but maybe they need a little bit more help, or they have some specific questions, and since they're watching this at a later date, they can't directly ask us. What can they do?
They can just join we have an IRC channel, which is #ubuntu-loco teams on irc.freenode.net. You can just join at any time, and you can highlight us. There's a factoid in there, so if you need help, that you just need to read the topic, and you'll find out what to do in order to get help from the local council. You can also send us an email at loco-council@lists.ubuntu.com. You may get a message that it's held in moderation, but it's usual because it's a private list, so don't worry about that. We'll still answer your questions. Uh, our a response time frame should be around 1 or 2 days, not more. But if you want any more help, just make sure to ask in the IRC channel or send us an email to the mailing list. We'll be super happy to help in the event you need help with Global Jam or any other local teams related issues or inquiries.
That channel is also used by a bunch of other people from loco teams. So if you're just looking for some ideas from somebody who's done this before, you can use that channel for that also. We also have a loco contacts mailing list. It's loco-contacts@list.ubuntu.com, which will go out to the various teams. So if you need help and you want to ask for advice from different teams, you can use that.
I am posting again the IRC channel and the two mailing lists that I haven't mentioned on the chat widget or the IRC channel, so you can check it out in a minute.
All right, so that covers getting your event set up and running. But don't stop once the event's over. There's still a lot of things that you can do to continue making it a success and help you with future events. So once your event is done, you should blog about what happened to let people know how it went, what you accomplished, who came, how much fun you had. This is where that group picture really comes in handy because you can post that on there and show off your team and what it's doing. It's really great to be able to promote that kind of activity and the people that are involved, and it really motivates people, both the ones that were there and ones that couldn't make it but might want to go to the next one. If you've got Flickr or Picasa accounts, post your pictures up there. The Loco Team portal lets you specify a picture hashtag, which will pull from those different sources to embed pictures of your event inside your event page on loco.ubuntu.com. So fill out that hashtag and use it when you upload your pictures. And of course, post about it on whatever social media accounts you use. anything that your team uses, just to get the word out and let people know how it went.
There's something else I just came up with. If there's a person in your local team that cannot physically attend the event, you may want to set up a computer with a Google Hangout or WebRTC and have them in a video chat in Hangout with you while you are in the event, so they can still contribute.
Yes, I think I think I went to a Global Jam one time that had a virtual participant. I feel like that has happened before, aka a laptop connected to a Google Hangout or Skype session. You can
Yeah,
work.
that would work. And if you're working on a task that maybe another local team's working on too, you can collaborate with them on real time, using Skype or WebRTC, like Jose mentioned, and get more than just the people in your event working on it. If you have more than one event for your local team at the same time, you can always patch them all together over the internet and video. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to kind of spread what you're doing beyond just the one event and venue that you've got.
If you want to like do things think out of the box and do like cool things that you may come up with in the moment, just go ahead and do it. There's no limits. Uh, if you wanna, I don't know, if you wanna do the video thing, or you can do any other things you may come up with. As I said, just don't be afraid. Take photos of it and then make a blog post so you can inspire other local teams and other local members. And they can probably do the same thing in the next Global Jam or in future events.
And also, I want to mention that you don't have to actually do any specific contributions during this. If you want to just make it a social gathering where you get together, meet up with people that you know are interested in it, share stories over, a glass of beer or some lunch or something, that's perfectly okay too. We encourage these contributions just to give you something to do while you're there, but it's by no means an obligation. It's still a global jam, even if it's just a social event. And if anybody in your team happens to have an Ubuntu phone or tablet, that's a big draw lately. A lot of people have seen us posting about the development of it, have seen screenshots and video of it, but haven't had the opportunity to actually have one in hand and try it out. So if anyone on your team has one or has access to one and can bring it to your event, that's always nice to have. And I've had quite a bit of people who are interested in seeing it. And really, that goes for any kind of interesting technology, whether it's hardware or software. If you've got something that you think people would be interested in just seeing and trying out, bring it with you. You can bring the latest development release of Ubuntu to try out. There's the Unity Next desktop images that have Unity 8 that people can boot up using a USB or something on their laptop to try out. There's quite a bit of things that you can do just to show off and get people excited. All right, and that's all the notes that we had for this workshop. If anyone has questions, go ahead and start asking them now in the IRC channel. Use the word question in all capitals, and we'll get to answering those. If you are just unsure of whether or not you can do this and you just want to talk to us about it, ask us in IRC, or if you want to join the Hangout and talk to us, we can do that too. This workshop is here to help you, so anything that we can do to help you out, let us know. And as we mentioned earlier, if you're watching this video after the fact and you have some questions or you need some advice, you can join #Ubuntu-Loco Teams on Freenode IRC and ask us on there.
I believe there are no more questions on IRC, so I think we're good to wrap it up if no one else wants to ask any questions.
All right. Well, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I hope to see some more Loco Team events popping up on the Loco Team portal. And if you don't have any questions, then I hope you all have a good event. And I look forward again to seeing all of the blog posts after the fact. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Bye.
Bye.